Hey, good morning. Richard Jones coming to you. On Tuesdays, I'm planning to post a little recap of our worship from Sunday. Now, this Sunday was the first week in Advent. Our theme is How Does a Weary World Rejoice? And you can pick up a Devo book like this to follow along if you come to church on Sunday. This week, we started with verse 1, week 1, and we talked about can a weary world rejoice? Well, we acknowledge our weariness. We acknowledge where we are right now. That's our first step. And we looked at two scriptures. We looked first at Luke chapter 1, the story of the angel Gabriel appearing to Zechariah. Zechariah was married to Elizabeth. Zechariah and Elizabeth were the parents of John the Baptist. And the angel comes and tells Zechariah he's going to have a child. Now, let me set this up for you a little bit. Zechariah, the scripture says Zechariah and Elizabeth were blameless. They lived holy lives. They followed God's way, but they had no children. And they were both very old, it says. So there was probably not a birth on the horizon. And for us, we may say, so what? But in ancient Palestine, that was a source of dishonor. Psalm 127 says, children are a blessing from the Lord. Blessed is a man that has his quiver full of them, like arrows in a quiver, have all those kids running around. And Zechariah was getting old. He probably figured that wasn't in the cards for him. And here he is living blamelessly before God, and God can't bless him that way. And I'm sure Zechariah was discouraged, disappointed. Maybe he felt a little ashamed. Maybe he felt resentment. Maybe he felt bitterness. Maybe he felt a little anger. But all these things swirling around in Zechariah's mind as he's burning incense in the temple. He's a priest, and it's his turn to do this. So he's serving in the temple by himself, burning this incense on the altar of incense in the holy place. And then the angel appears to him. Now add all those other things Zechariah was already feeling. And add in, it says, when the angel appeared to him, he was terrified and overwhelmed with fear. So not only was he feeling disappointment and discouragement and maybe resentment or bitterness, or maybe just total confusion. God, I've lived for you my whole life, and where's my blessing? Add to that fear, overwhelming fear. That's where Zechariah was. Then the angel comes to him and says, Zechariah, you're going to have a child, and you will rejoice. You will be filled with joy. Zechariah, all these feelings you're feeling now are going to be moving toward joy. Okay, now Psalm 80 is the other scripture we looked at. And Psalm 80 is a psalm of prayer, recounting different feelings that the children of Israel had toward their problems. During the time that Psalm 80 was written, they were struggling. And it says there's a refrain in the psalm, a verse that's repeated several times, and it's this: restore us, O God, let your face shine that we may be saved. Restore us, O God, let your face shine that we may be saved. See, in Psalm 80, the people of Israel responded to their problems with prayer. In Luke 1, Zechariah had all these conflicting emotions going on, all these things happening in his life. Maybe some of them he didn't understand. And the response was a promise from God. How can I move from where I am right now toward joy? Well, I start by acknowledging just where I am. God, this is how I'm feeling. God, this is what's going on in my life. God, I don't understand. God, I'm upset. I'm depressed. I'm sad. I'm lonely. I feel isolated. I'm resentful. I'm bitter. I'm angry, God. Okay. being honest and being real about our starting place, that's how we begin. We begin at the beginning. But during the season of Advent, how can I move from where I am toward joy? Well, like Psalm 80, I pray. I take it all to God in prayer. If you read the Psalms, there's nothing off limits. God, this is exactly how I'm feeling and I need your help. Tell God exactly how you feel. And then in Luke 1, the promises of God. The angel said, yes, I know this is what's going on in your life. This is how you're feeling. This is the status quo. But I promise it's not always going to be that way. You will have joy. God has promised never to leave us or forsake us. God has promised that He will take us to dwell with Him forever. God has promised that even though we walk through the darkest valley, the valley of the shadow of death, God walks right beside us. God's promised that nothing can separate us from the love of God. So today, how are you feeling? Chances are, no matter how good things are going, there's some negative feelings swirling around in there too. How can I, this Advent season, this holiday season, how can I move toward joy? I can start by practicing taking everything to God in prayer. All my feelings, all my struggles, take it all to God in prayer. And prayer's the first thing, and then I can depend on the promises of God. Hey, I'm hoping you have joy this Advent season, and I hope you can worship with us Sunday. On Thursday, I'll post a little preview of next Sunday's worship. Talk to you guys later.